It's now 92 BC, and the prophet King Mosiah II just finished translating the Jaredite nation's history from 24 golden plates, the curious record Limhi's people found while trying to return to Zarahemla. But also, Mosiah has just finished reading the unabridged 4-episode saga of Zeniff's Return to the Land of Nephi. And Mosiah is realizing in stark reality, while governments led by kings can be wonderful, they can also be terrible and destructive. And he personally knows heavy is the head that wears the crown. So, wouldn't it be totally awesome if our political leaders were always honorable and wise? Or, better yet, always sought the Lord's direction? After King Mosiah read these 2 accounts near the end of his life, and knowing Aaron had refused the kingship to be a missionary, he realized this was an opportunity to leave a phenomenal, lasting legacy. But it would take some real convincing to uproot their beloved monarchy at its peak and replant a new republic. So he wrote a proclamation to the people letting them know how risky it is to give all political power to one man, how these kings could lead people to sin, trample the laws, and create tyranny that ultimately leads the people to captivity, and how a new radical government by the voice of the people, led by righteous judges, would allow the people to keep their leaders in check, as the majority usually chooses that which is good. Well, the people not only agreed to the change, they loved King Mosiah even more for this last selfless act to stop this terrible cycle that almost destroyed Zeniff's people and did destroy the entire Jaredite nation. And with that, the people wisely voted Alma the Younger as their first chief judge. Yes, the Lord cares deeply about our political freedoms. Freedom of thought and religion allow the saving doctrine of his Son to freely go forth boldly and nobly, while wicked dictators can stop his saving work and lead the people to wickedness, misery, and captivity. Therefore, it's crucial we peacefully do what we can to preserve our ability to choose the right, by letting our voices be heard to make our communities, nations, and world a better place. And so, by the next year, sadly, Alma Sr. and King Mosiah had died, while Alma the Younger began his first year as the chief judge. And trouble immediately began as a big burly guy named Nehor began to preach a new enticing doctrine. Only it wasn't new. It's the oldest Antichrist doctrine in our good book. He preached, "You lovely, beautiful people, relax and quit worrying. No matter what you do, you're going to be saved. No one is going to be lost. So it's all good. Join my church and just do what you want. Oh, and give me financial support in my new priestly profession." Sounds pretty good, right? But it also sounds familiar. Yes, Satan announced premortally, "Send me and no worries. I'll save everyone. Just give me all the glory." And while this is enticing, it's a big lie, and it would stop our progression. But the wonderfully aged hero Gideon, who hatched the escape plan for Limhi's people, wasn't having any of it. He boldly withstood Nehor's words, and Nehor, rather than admit defeat, drew his sword and killed him. And even though Nehor was put to death, these new priestcraft teachings spread, and just a few years later, Nehor's disciple, the smooth-talking, cunning Amlici and followers, tried to revert the government back to a monarchy. Of course, trying to make himself king. But with their new powerful vote, the majority spoke out that they quite enjoyed their newfound freedoms. Bitter Amlici and followers fled to the hill Amnihu to prepare for war. Knowing this, Alma took his army to Amlici, and a battle ensued. Defeated, the Amlicites fled to the Valley of Gideon, where, to Alma's horror, a huge Lamanite army had invaded, pillaging his people. Alma's army crossed the river Sidon towards Zarahemla, but there, the Lamanites with the Amlicites caught them. Alma knew this was too much for his army, and he cried, "O Lord, have mercy and spare my life, that I may be an instrument in thy hands to save and preserve this people." With that, Alma's sword met Amlissi's, and with God's strength, he slew the usurper. And as Alma pursued the Lamanite king, the king fled, and the Lamanites and Amlicites fled the battle to the west and north, where wild animals got many of them. Now, while this destruction of the Nephite lands greatly humbled them, just a few years later, Alma watched as the church members, with their wealth, became even more proud than non-members. While Alma could create more laws or make them stricter, he chose a more radical approach: to give up all his power as their chief judge and devote the rest of his life to preaching. This then sets up one of the greatest epic missions of all time. Alma's powerful sermons in Zarahemla, Gideon, Melech, Ammonihah, and to the Zoramites didn't just impact his people. They're still changing us today and make up one of the most spiritually powerful parts of the Book of Mormon. Yes, Alma knew the voices we listen to are extraordinarily powerful. They can shape us towards self-freedom, happiness, and eternal life, or they can lead us to spiritual captivity and misery. Alma knew the preaching of the Word had a great tendency to lead the people to do that which was just. It had a more powerful effect upon their minds than the sword or anything else. So watch the next episode as we dive into Alma's first powerful sermons to the people of Zarahemla and Gideon.